Davenport released nearly 100 documents last night in connection with the collapsed building. Some date back to 2020. Included are notices to vacate specific units, structural reports, and fire code failures, among other things. News 8's Joe McCoy is live for us in downtown Davenport to break this all down for us. Joe, what have you learned from those reports?
John, well, there was a ton to sift through in these reports right here, but there were some very eye-opening information on the extremely poor condition of the building before it collapsed. More than 90 different reports released, some with pictures on the condition of the apartment building before it collapsed. City officials addressing the community again today.
Good morning, thanks for coming.
News 8 has gone through the documents line by line and found some interesting details. On February 2nd, Davenport Development and Neighborhood Services released a report saying in part, quote, "Part of the southwest wall has been gradually failing. There's visible crumbling of this exterior load-bearing wall under the support beam. To continue to use the building, you must provide an engineer's letter stating this is not an imminent danger." Select Structural, the engineering company hired by building owner Andrew Wold, conducted an emergency site visit the same day and concluded, quote, "An evacuation or lockout of the building is not necessary at this time."
You were toting such a fine line between closing the building and keeping the building open, and based off one engineer's report, you decided to keep the building open, and now most likely 3 people have died because of that.
And I understand that. I mean, a professional engineer in February stated the building was not at imminent collapse. The same engineer reviewed the repair work that needed to be done in May and did not come to the conclusion that that building had to be evacuated.
Less than a week before the building collapsed, another report was conducted.
In a report from May 24th from Select Structural, which was 5 days before the building collapsed, it says, "In anticipation of these areas falling, the brick facade above the window should be secured. This is to keep the entire face of the building from falling away from bottom areas that come loose." Did that not cause you guys to pause and say that no one should live in this building?
They're still investigating that. If you look at the January report, it was a similar repair that was made back in January. So they're still looking at that, and we'll get those answers.
Believe me, the investigation, we're as interested as anybody else.
An investigation that right now has many more questions than answers. Mayor Mike Mattson continues to emphasize the fluidity of this investigation, as well as the city's commitment to get to the bottom of how this tragedy happened. But currently, community members are still frustrated that the city waited for the building to collapse before deeming it unlivable. John?
All right, thank you, Joe.